Hurler, hurler, hurler. A glorious Monday, Columbus Day. The day the man shot past America on the way to who the fuck knows where. But he missed this motherfucker. But we celebrate this day because he discovered America. He had motherfuckers on the beach like, yo, Chris, like, where this motherfucker going? Missed the whole beach. I mean, how dumb can you be? But they sell you on the fact that he discovered America, so we'll run with that. Day off from work, much needed. Okay. I need to get something off my chest in terms of how we interact with law enforcement. Us as African Americans on a daily basis are encountering law enforcement and they are not doing right by us. They're killing us and taking our lives. They're taking our brothers and sisters from us, and it has to stop. The first thing I would expect you to do as an African American when dealing with law enforcement is to cooperate. That's your best bet. Anything else will get you killed. Anything else will get you nowhere because they don't listen. They don't want to hear shit you got to say. They don't care how you feel. They don't care about your rights. They don't care that you're a U.S. citizen. They don't care. The only thing they care about is being in control. Just cooperate. There's a lot of people saying you shouldn't cooperate. You should stand up for yourself. When dealing with them, I advise you don't do that. The outcome is not going to be good. It's already evident. We see it every day. They're not going to change their tactics or policies no matter how much we protest because this is how they operate in America. They operate as the ultimate gang, and you are the one who is powerless to do anything about it. In that moment, when they pull you over for whatever reason they deem fit, you've already lost control. As soon as they approach your window, boop, the little bulb goes on. It's time to be in control. I am in total control of this entire situation, no matter what that person says. Hi, officer, how are you? Can I see your ID? That's the first thing they ask you. Why are you pulling me over today? Can I see your ID? That's all they want. From the gate, your ID, so they can identify you. Because that's policy. That is their policy when they approach a vehicle to identify you. They want to identify you because they want to find out if you have any outstanding warrants, if you're wanted any other suspected crimes. They are there to identify you in case you are wanted. To further the investigation, they want to know who you are just in case they can get something on you. Outstanding ticket. Maybe you're on parole or probation. So it can snowball from there. So the investigation can go from there and lead to a possible crime or some type of infraction. It's never really about the traffic stop. It's never really about the use of a turn signal. It's never really about illegal turn. It's never really about having a broken tail light. It's always about the end result being, can they get something on you? Especially if you're a person of color. Don't let these people take your life. Don't let these people take you away from your family, man. Give them your ID, but say less after that. Everything you need to know about me, you gonna run off my ID. You don't have to say anything else. What I would advise, though, if you have the opportunity, is to record the interaction with that officer, just for your own record, in case you need it. That's if you survive the encounter with them, because you're like on pins and needles the whole time. You're sitting there waiting to see what's going to happen, because that's how it is every time we interact with them. It's a wait and see how he or she is going to interact with us. I'm not saying all cops are bad. I don't trust none of them. I don't give a fuck how long you've been in law enforcement. I don't give a fuck if you're a good cop or not. Because as far as I'm concerned, you in cahoots. You turn a blind eye to what's going on in the system as a whole. You turn a blind eye. Every time you go to work, put on that uniform, that gun and badge. Even if you aren't out there doing wrong to the general public, you're turning a blind eye when you see your fellow officers abuse their authority. You just as guilty. I don't give a fuck if this is your livelihood. I don't give a fuck. You have a moral compass in your body to make choices. If you see your fellow officer committing a wrong, your moral compass is supposed to point you in the direction of doing the right thing. That's just like me being on the job with a coworker and he's sitting there stealing shit. I ain't gonna go tell on him, but I ain't gonna be stealing with him. But I'm gonna point him aside and be like, yo, what the fuck is you doing, man? Don't be putting me in harm's way. Don't be jeopardizing my shit because you want to steal. That's what I'm talking about. Speaking up. That's your responsibility when you're not the wrongdoer and you see your coworkers doing wrong. Pull them to the side and pull them up like, yo, what the fuck is you doing, man? That ain't cool. You know, if it escalates from there, then y'all handle it. Yo, okay, what? You want to go in the alley right here? We can go park our cars, take off the guns. We could do some hands, and then we can go away from this. It's up to you. But that shit ain't cool. What you did to do, you have to throw him on the ground like that. You have to choke him like that. I'm not doing police work like that. That's why I couldn't be a cop because I ain't doing that. See, I'm gonna pull you up. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? Why you do him like that? Why you pull her out the car like that? And they're gonna have a problem with me. They're gonna be like, nah, he can't be here. They don't want them type of cops in law enforcement. They want the ones that fit the program, that follow the program of I'm gonna be aggressive when dealing with you, and that's just how it's gonna be. I'm not gonna be personable. I'm not gonna be, you know, courteous and talk to you respectfully. I'm gonna assert my authority because I can, because it's the norm. This is how they operate. It's the norm with them. You got higher ups that condone this type of behavior. They're telling the public that they're not for that. You know, they have these rules and regulations on use of force, on dealing with the public, but they choose to operate under a different set of rules. They just don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about your feelings. They don't give a fuck about your rights. They feel like law enforcement is the judge, jury, and executioner of our society. This shit only goes on in the black community. This only goes on in the black communities. These tactics are only implemented in places of color, places of poverty, places of the working poor. And they hide behind drug activity, crime activity, in these communities, which is true. There is, but that's a whole nother story, you know, because I don't see no large amount of income and funds being pumped into these communities of violence, these communities of color, these communities where they have a problem with drug addiction, drug selling. But that's a whole nother story because that's not where the money is in these communities. But you'll suck it out of there, but don't want to put nothing in there. And that's how they police. Keep these niggas in check. Don't fall a victim to that. Live to see another day. You have that interaction with that officer, whether it be male or female, on your terms. Be on point when they walk up. Keep it limited. Keep the conversation limited. Because it's all about probable cause with them. When they pull you over, it's about getting you into probable cause of some type of offense or crime. That could be anything from an open container to something you verbally say to them to further the investigation. So don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in the bullshit. Give them your ID. Say less. Let the interaction play out because they're going to have it play out the way they want to. You got my ID. Now do your investigation. Go back to your vehicle and run my shit. Right? Once you run my shit, if I made an illegal left turn or I didn't use a turn signal, write my ticket. If you come back to my ticket, I'm going to sign a motherfucker. I'll fight it in court. I'll fight it in court. But I ain't gonna sit there and go back and forth with you so you can put me in a situation where you can pull out your gun or your taser or call backup where you got 5 or 6 other officers there and it escalates from there. Because that's exactly what happens. It always escalates from there because you always got one in the bunch who pounds on the chest the hardest, and the next thing you know, they snatch you out of the car, you're on the ground, you're talking about 5 or 6 people, that's over 1,000 pounds in most cases, on top of you, trying to get you to put your hands behind your back forcibly. Why go through that? Give them your ID. Let them run. Let them run your shit. Go ahead and run that shit. Everything they need to know is gonna pop up. If you ain't did nothing wrong, give them your ID. Because if you don't, it's gonna escalate every time. The only difference is you're gonna have some officers more patient than others before they fucking spring and just change up on you to the point where they're snatching you out of the car and now you're going to jail or worse. We got to be smarter than that. Live to see another day. Don't fall for the trap. Put your ego in your pocket. Don't go out like that. Live to see another day. Somebody's depending on you to come home. Somebody's depending on seeing you another day. Don't let these fools take that. That what happened to George Floyd? That wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. He was at the wrong place on the wrong day. And I'm not just saying if he had cooperated, the outcome would have been any different. I just know cooperating gives you a better chance to see another day. And because in their eyes, he was combative and didn't want to cooperate. That led to the events on that day of us losing another beautiful black brother. Don't fall for the trap. Don't be a victim. You're giving them even more power when they get the power to just take your life. Live to see another day. Fight it another way. You have those options as well. I just want to get that off my chest. Thanks. I'll holler.